Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we'll be talking about the Portland Trailblazers and who do we expect them to sign in free agency. So before we start today's video, I'd love to hear those comments down below. And let's get right into it. With Chauncey Billups being the head coach, what do we expect? I expect, first off, Norman Powell needs to be resigned. And they traded for him, I personally believe, to move on from CJ McCollum. And maybe they keep CJ McCollum, but they got Norman Powell so they can have his, I think it's either his bird rights or his restricted free agent rights. So they're going to keep him. They're going to pay him to keep him. And yes, I know allegedly Damian Lillard might request a trade after being frozen out of the hiring process. If you're a Blazer fan, I want to hear right now down below, what do you guys think of the Damian Lillard rumors? What do you guys think of Norman Powell being re-signed? And what do you guys think of just this in general? So let's get right in. And what I want to say is, I think if they don't change the roster, okay, which again, very, very likely thing to happen because of where they're at, I think a guy, they let's first be honest, they don't have the world's most cap room. They're 131 million already, and that's without Collins, Cantor, Anthony, Giles, Halson, Jefferson, and on the books. Okay, so next year they'll have C.J. Elleby, Nazir Little, Anthony Simons, Derek Jones Jr., Norman Powell, who he's right now he would make 11.6 if he accepts that, but he's probably gonna make more. So I assume for them to resign him, Joseph Nurkic, Covington, C.J. McCollum, and Damian Lillard. If they move McCollum and re-sign Norman Powell, they'll be under the 112. They'll probably be, if you give Norman Powell what, 20, 25? I'll just go 20. Okay, and you really take off, they'd be at 121 million. And if they could get off of Derek Jones Jr., who I do like him, but if they can move on from that 9.7, you get, I feel like, a lot better players for what he's worth. You could argue the same thing Robert Covington, but I really like Robert Covington's defense. I think the best option for these guys is Evan Fournier. Evan Fournier, yeah, he made 17 million in the past few years, but I think he's probably going to get closer to 10 or 12 this coming season. So if they could bring in Evan Fournier and Norman Powell, and I guess in this case they could bring in Evan Fournier if they move on from Robert Covington and Derek Jones Jr., which they would get even worse, I feel like, at defense in that case. Right here, I really do think CJ McCollum needs to be moved so you can reset this roster. This roster needs to be retooled, and I like CJ McCollum, but I don't think he's worth the 30 million. 20s, yeah. What do you guys think? I think another thing we could see them also be looking at is, I think players like Tory Craig. Tony Snell and Tory Craig would be awesome. Tony Snell shot 56% from three this past year on 109 attempts. He's 6'6" with a 6'11" wingspan. He has a positional size as a backup 2-3, and as well as playoff experience. Snell's market is the minimum, so I think that'd be good. And another guy is Tory Craig. Tory Craig is a guy who played in New Zealand, now is in the NBA Finals with the Phoenix Suns. He's 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. He's a great shot blocker and rebounder, and he's a 33% three-point shooter. But he could be a guy that you could replace for a veteran's minimum and get rid of Derek Jones Jr. Then Glenn Robinson III, he's 6'6", and he played for the Sacramento Kings. And his best season was with the Golden State Warriors, where he shot 39% from three and 4.5 rebounds and almost 12 points in 2020. He's not a good defender, but he's more of a athletic heat-up quick scorer who is a strong rebounder. He's another guy that they could bring in on the veterans minimum to be a backup 3-4 or even a 2-3-4. I would love James Johnson, and this is a guy who, yes, he's 34, he's 6'7". He's one of the toughest guys in the league, and he would really give them a small ball five and a guy who at the power forward position is an excellent passer, Great guy forcing turnovers and blocking shots. He's a defensive specialist who can finish well near the rim and set up his teammates out on the post and perimeter, be a small ball 5 or a starting 4 or even just a 4 off the backup. There could be Jared Vanderbilt, but I think he's going to get re-signed by the Minnesota Timberwolves, at least I hope. I would be mad at my T-Wolves if they don't do that. There's Stanley Johnson, who's 25, and he's grown into a rotational guy who's 6'6", 240 pounds with a 6'11" wingspan, and he can defend the league's biggest wings and forwards. And he's improved as a team defender with a penchant for forcing turnovers and blocking shots. Yeah, his shooting hasn't come around, but it's been seen. Like, we've seen the potential. So he could come cheap, and he could be another guy to help their defense. McCollum, who just spent the past season, what was it? He was on the Pelicans, and he got traded to, I believe, the Mavericks. I don't even remember. But basically, he's 6'9", and he hasn't shot well from 3 yet in his NBA career, but he's 45% from mid-range, so showing that he can stroke it, but he's a terrible defender. Alex Len is a guy who is 7 feet tall with a 7-foot wingspan. We saw what he was doing with the Wizards. If they move on from Nurkic, this is a guy they could bring in and really, really replace and be like the Kroger version on a vet min or something of Nurkic. Dwayne Dedman, very similar to Lynn, but he can actually stretch the floor. And then Aaron Baines would be awesome. Aaron Baines signed a career high $7 million in the offseason, and he's an excellent big. I think he's better as a backup. But yeah, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think they should do, or what are they going to do? I think they're in an odd spot, because, look, we all want this team to succeed. Nobody wants to sit here and be like Damian Lillard's, because we don't want Damian Lillard to leave. I mean, obviously, some people, if you're a fan of another team, you want Damian Lillard to leave because you want your team to get Damian Lillard. Every other team in the league wants Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard needs to win him MVP. I love Damian Lillard, and I think it just sucks that still for so long he's been just, I would say, it's just not fair, I think he's one of the best players in the league, and he deserves an actual opportunity to win. He doesn't even have an MVP. This guy deserves an MVP, okay? The fact that he doesn't have an MVP fucking blows my mind. And yeah, I was just rambling. I'm gonna go. I gotta drive my friend to the airport. So peace out, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this video.